Hi, welcome to Dr. Joe Academy reading and writing class. Just give me a second while I share my screen. Lewis, I received your essay
Well,
today, but Chloe, I still have not received yours. Do you have your essay completed?
really, but I thought we were writing it. Like, this is just a prompt, so I didn't write it.
Okay, all right, yeah, that's fine. We'll just work on it during class, but Lewis, we'll go over your essay as well. We'll get into this lesson after we go over the first essay. So let me just go back over here. All right, first we'll go over the responsible
Wait, can I
prompt
have
one.
the link?
Yeah, Lewis, go ahead.
Can I have the link for this?
Yeah, of course. Let me send you the link
All
for,
right, thank you so much.
yeah, no worries. Okay, Lewis, can you go ahead and read both of your essays?
Achilles' pride from the Iliad presents as a core aspect of the story's progression that shows the consequences pride can cause. His defense versus the honor of a warrior when facing Agamemnon's humiliation led to selfish decisions that impacted everyone. For instance, Achilles' Greek comrades suffered in battle and failed miserably, lacking his power. His unchecked pride took not only himself, but the entirety of Greece to a devastating ending. The consequences presents a warning that selfish decisions led by pride can affect innocent people forced to face an undeserved treatment caused by that pride. Subsequently in the story, Achilles' friend Patroclus, who fought in battle with Achilles' armor to frighten their enemy, died as a result of Achilles' withdrawal from the battle, which led Achilles broken in grief. His selfish decisions led by his pride took innocent people to their demise, and ultimately traced him back to haunt himself. Achilles' tragedy demonstrates that though pride can make one strong, they can as well destruct everything if left unchecked for too long. His story warns readers that even though faced with a dilemma, emotions do not take the upper hand in making decisions. A selfish decision to fulfill a personal wish can lead to aftermath that can affect countless people and cause avoidable impacts.
All right, so let me just go over the first essay first, and then we'll come back into prompt two. So, in terms of points of improvement for your first essay, the thesis needs to be more specific and direct in addressing the role of unchecked pride in Achilles' downfall. Rephrase the thesis to align clearly with the warning theme. Clarity and grammar. So these are just two small corrections. Instead of his defend, it would be his defense. Entirety of Greek. Instead, you could just write entire Greek army to avoid the awkward phrasing. Transitions and evidence. Smoothly integrate examples from the Iliad and provide more context around Patroclus' death. Clarify how Achilles' pride directly leads to specific consequences. For your conclusion, avoid vague phrases like fulfill personal wish and aftermath that can affect. Make the wording more impactful and specific to unchecked pride. All right, so we'll go over the revised version. So what we see over here is the original and then the changed version. Achilles' pride from the Iliad presents as a core aspect of the story's progression that shows the consequences that pride can cause. Instead, you could write in the Iliad, there's a central theme that highlights the destructive consequences of unchecked pride. Instead of writing his defend, you could write his relentless defense for his honor of a warrior when facing Agamemnon's humiliation. You could replace that part with of his warrior's honor, particularly after Agamemnon's public insult led to selfish decisions that impacted everyone brought. Instead of writing led to selfish decisions that impacted everyone, write brought devastation to both himself and his comrades. In general, the changes made the thesis statement more stronger and clearer to focus on. It also corrected the grammatical errors, which we already addressed. And in general, it also improved some word choice. So instead of writing impacted everyone, you could write brought devastation. It's much more impactful. And even when we're looking at the changes over here, we see led to widespread suffering, ultimately bringing both himself and the entire Greek army to ruin. So this would replace portions of the first sentence. And then rather than writing the consequences presenting a warning, you can start off this sentence with writing this serves as a warning. For the second sentence that's cut off, it's replaced with selfish actions driven by pride can unjustly harm innocent people and cause irreversible consequences. This allows for a more smooth sentence structure and improvised grammar. There's also more specific language being used rather than writing Greek army to ruin. Greek army to ruin is written instead of entirety of Greek, so it's much more specific. There's also removed redundancy and rephrased, and in general, it's rephrased to maintain clarity and flow. All right, so this portion over here, we see the second part of the first sentence on this paragraph being replaced as serves as a timeless warning that unchecked emotions and pride can cloud judgment in critical moments. And then over here, instead of writing a selfish decision to fulfill personal wish, you could write driven by personal pride can lead to aftermath that can affect countless people and cause avoidable impacts. And that second part of the sentence is replaced with result in devastating consequences for countless others, many of whom are undeserving of such harm. This in general makes the conclusion sharper and more aligned with the thesis. There's also removed big phrases like fulfill personal wish and aftermath. Also, the broader warning of unchecked emotions is better highlighted in this paragraph. So we also have the final version over here, just all the revisions made. Again, it'll be much more easier and organized to read, but the changes are shown over here in bold. And in general, that's what you're going to want to look at as we get into the period of time when we do make final changes. So let's go back to the second essay, but in general, Louis, do you have any question about the feedback we went over for essay number one?
No question, thank you.
Okay, can you go ahead and read your response for prompt two?
All right. Mary Shelley utilizes vivid imagery in her fiction Frankenstein to illustrate the awe-inspiring, horrifying environment in Victor Frankenstein's creation of his monster. For instance, her description of the environment provides the readers a shade of gloom. The rain pattered dismally against the panes, and my candle was nearly burnt out when, by the glimmer of the half-extinguished light, I saw the dull yellow eye of the creature open. Shelley described that the rain pattered dismally to reinforce the somber atmosphere. The rain adds further on the sense of despair presented in the creation of the monster. It reflects the lunacy in the experiment and clothes it in horrification. Furthermore, the monster's appearance provides a sense of contrast to the readers, which invites them to experience Victor Frankenstein's shock at the moment. His yellow skin scarcely covered the work of muscles and arteries beneath. His heart was of a lustrous black and flowing, his teeth of a purely whiteness, but these luxuriances only formed a more horrid contrast with his watery eyes. Shelley's, Shelley's illustration in the monster's yellow skin color extends a mood of terror, leading to the fear of witnessing an unhuman-like creature. The swift contrast to Victor Frankenstein's description of his eyes as beautiful forms, a twisted combination between beauty and terror, pushing the trepidation of the storytell climax. Shelley's imagery effectively forms a dark atmosphere of dread, inviting the readers to experience the same emotion Victor Frankenstein experiences as he creates the environment. I think I was meant to write creates a creature, but I was tweaking out. You're muted. If
Oh, thanks for letting me know. Okay. All right, so just wanted to go over the feedback for essay two. In terms of the thesis, improve the thesis to clearly introduce the dark and horrifying tone created by Shelley's imagery. Evidence and analysis. Integrate quotes more smoothly. Provide deeper analysis of how imagery, so the rain, the monster's appearance, reflects the theme of horror and despair. I just want to check. Okay, and let me just scroll over here. In terms of evidence and analysis, integrate. Okay, no, we already went over this. Transitions. Add clearer transitions between paragraphs for smoother flow. Conclusion. Make the conclusion emphasize the emotional impact of Shelley's imagery. So for the original opening, rather than writing Mary Shelley, you would just write Shelley utilizes vivid, or we're going to cut out honestly most of this portion and replace this with Shelley employs vivid and unsettling imagery in Frankenstein to create a chilling and foreboding atmosphere during Victor Frankenstein's creation of his monstrous being. Again, it's more just changes to how you wrote this, but you don't want to copy this exactly word for word, but rather you want to use this as inspiration and look at the changes between it. So there's fixed spelling for the name, improved wording, utilizes vivid imagery, is changed into employs vivid and unsettling imagery. This is much stronger phrasing, so you can keep this exactly as it is. You don't need to find a replacement for that. And then There's also additions. So this is more like what you want to actually replace yourself. So chilling and foreboding atmosphere was completely added onto this. In general, helps make the thesis clear, but you can consider putting this into your own words. When we look at the body paragraph for the second prompt, for instance, Shelley's description of the environment, we'll just cut off from over here and write creates an overwhelming sense of gloom and dread. This sentence is replaced as the rain pattered dismissively against the panes. Okay, I guess it was just the formatting of the quote. This is how you would format it correctly. You would put commas like that, and you wouldn't just introduce it like this. There will be a period at the end of the sentence, and then you would introduce the quote. And this is the exact way you would format the quote correctly. All right, Shelley described that the pain pattered dismissively. Okay, this can be replaced as the relentless rain described as pattering dismissively, reinforces the somber and foreboding atmosphere. And then the next sentence is replaced as it serves as an external manifestation of Victor's growing despair and the unnatural horror of his experiment. And the last sentence is replaced as by surrounding Victor in such a dismal environment, Shelley mirrors his emotional instability and foreshadows the horror to come. In general, these changes tightened phrasing for clarity and eliminated awkward wording, so adds further on. It integrated the quote more smoothly into the analysis. It also improved analysis by connecting the rain to Victor's emotional state and foreshadowing horror. All right, let's take a look at the second body paragraph. So rather than writing which invites them to experience Victor Frankenstein's shock at the moment, you can write strikes a disturbing contrast that mirrors Victor's shock and horror. And then this whole thing is just changed again according to the formatting that is supposed to be for a quote. So just make sure you do pay attention to the punctuation that is used when introducing a quote in any essay. And then the second part of this sentence is changed into intensifies the terror, forcing reader to visualize an unnatural and grotesque being. These changes in general improve the sentence flow and clarity, provides a sense of contrast is rewritten to strikes a disturbing contrast. The quotes are integrated smoothly and in general redundancy is reduced. The analysis is also expanded to emphasize the juxtaposition of beauty and honor. Okay, and the conclusion. So rather than writing this sentence, the conclusion is changed to Shelley's vivid imagery crafts an atmosphere of dread and terror, immersing readers in Victor Frankenstein's horror and despair as he beholds the unnatural creature he has brought to life. The changes for this is strengthen phrasing for a more impactful conclusion, and it also clarifies how the reader experiences Victor's emotions. And then just like the first essay, we have the second essay written here as a final version. As mentioned by you, I think most like it should be within the 8 to 12 sentence framework. I think, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's under 12 sentences, so it should be fine. And Lewis, do you have any questions about the provided feedback for the second essay?
No question, thank you.
Okay, perfect. Let's go ahead and move on to the lesson. So this lesson was practically made in association with the exam that you're taking a look at. The first part of the lesson we're taking a look at is addressing unmoderated passion in literature. Once we get through these quick lessons, we're going to spend the rest of the class time working on the essay, and then we'll dedicate maybe the last 10 to 15 minutes to go through detailed feedback, just like we did with your essay, Lewis. So the first topic, let's get into this. Lewis, can you go ahead and read the first slide?
Okay, what is unmoderated passion? Definition of unmoderated passion. Unmoderated passion refers to emotions, desires, or ambitions that are not controlled by reason or self-awareness. These passions can drive characters to act impulsively, leading to harm, tragedy, or irreversible consequences. Why is unmoderated passion dangerous? Loss of control. Decisions are driven by emotions rather than rational thought. Self-destruction. The character often suffers deeply as a result of their actions. Harm to others. Innocent people are frequently affected by the character's unchecked actions. Literary examples of unmoderated passion. Achilles' pride, the Iliad. His anger at Agamemnon causes him to withdraw from battle, leading to Greek suffering and Patroclus' death. Macbeth's ambition, Macbeth. His thirst for power leads to murder, tyranny, and his eventual downfall. Victor Frankenstein's obsession, Frankenstein. His blind pursuit of knowledge causes destruction and personal torment. Connection to the real world. Literature uses these characters as cautionary examples, showing readers that unchecked emotions or desires can have devastating consequences. The lessons universal. Moderation and self-control are essential to avoid tragic outcomes.
Okay, and Chloe, can you go ahead and read this slide?
Prompt, prompt recap. Consider how the danger of unmoderated passion is depicted in a character. Discuss the ways the character provides a warning or solution. What the prompt requires. Identify the character's passion. Show how the passion grows or spirals out of control. Explain the consequences for the character and others. Analyze the lesson or warning provided to the reader. Step-by-step example. Passion. Achilles' pride and anger after being insulted by Agamemnon. Development. Achilles withdraws from the battle, allowing the Greek army to suffer. Patroclus dies in Achilles' absence while trying to motivate the troops. Consequences. The Greek army is weakened. Achilles experiences immense grief over Patroclus' death. Lesson. Achilles' story demonstrates that unchecked pride leads to suffering, regret, and unnecessary tragedy. Moral analysis sentence. Achilles withdraws from battle, driven by his pride, likely causing the Greek army loses and Patroclus' death. This illustrates how unchecked emotions can lead to widespread destruction, affecting even those who are innocent.
Okay, and Lewis, can you go ahead and read this slide?
Using evidence effectively. Why evidence is important. Evidence shows how unmoderated passion causes consequences. Paraphrased or summarized moments from the text help support the argument. How to identify relevant evidence. Focus on moments when a character's emotions directly influence their decisions. Highlight the consequences that result from those decisions. Example evidence from the Iliad. Achilles refuses to fight after being insulted, causing the Greek army to weaken in battle. Patroclus dies when he enters the battle wearing Achilles' armor, symbolizing the pride of Achilles' pride. Integrating evidences smoothly. Always connect evidence to your argument. Achilles' refusal to fight, driven by his wounded pride, leads directly to the Greek suffering on the battlefield. Key insight. Evidence should focus not just on what happens, but why it matters. Achilles' pride highlights the destructive power of unmoderated emotions.
Okay, and Chloe, can you go ahead and read this slide?
What is a thesis statement? A thesis statement is a central argument of your essay. It should clearly state the character's passion, the consequences, and the broader warning or lesson. Structure of a strong thesis. Character's passion intact demonstrates consequence and warns readers of lesson. This is example for Achilles. Achilles' unchecked pride in the Iliad leads to personal grief and widespread suffering, serving as a cautionary warning about the dangers of allowing emotions to dictate actions. What makes this thesis effective? It clearly identifies the character's passion, pride, explains the consequences, grief, suffering, and provides a lesson, a cautionary warning.
Okay, and Lewis, can you go ahead and read this slide?
Writing an impactful conclusion. Purpose of a conclusion. Reinforce your argument. Summarizes consequences of the character's unmoderated passion. Provide a final, universal lesson for readers. Structure of a strong conclusion. Restate your thesis using fresh language. Summarize the consequences of the passion. End with a broader takeaway or warning. Example conclusion for Achilles. Achilles' pride, though rooted in his sense of honor, causes immense harm to himself and others. His grief over Patroclus' death highlights the tragic consequences of unchecked emotions. Through Achilles' story, the Iliad warns readers that failing to moderate emotions can lead to devastating unnecessary loss. Why this works? The conclusion reinforces the thesis without repeating it word for word. It highlights both the personal and broader consequences. It ends with a timeless lesson for readers.
All right, so this brings us into the second part. The first was more about understanding how to address the prompts. This is more about the form and content, especially addressing the literary passages. So, Lewis, even with your essay, how you integrated some of the passages can be further improved. And that's what we're going to be taking a look at over here, because that is one of the most pivotal parts when considering this exam. Okay, Chloe, can you go ahead and read this slide?
What is form? Form refers to the author's writing style, including diction, imagery, sentence, figurative language. What is content? Content refers to the meaning or message conveyed by the passage. The relationship between form and content. Author use specific stylistic choices form to shape or enhance meaning content. Key question: how do the author's choices create the tone, atmosphere, or meaning of the passage?
Okay, and Lewis, can you go ahead and read this slide?
Analyzing the Frankenstein creation scene. Excerpt. The rain spat pattered dismally against the panes, and my candle was nearly burnt out, when, by the glimmer of the half-extinguished light, I saw the dull yellow eye of the creature open, identifying form elements, diction. Words like pattered dismally and half-extinguished light create a somber, foreboding tone. Imagery. Visual details like the yellow eye and auditory details like the rain evoke dread and unease. Sentence structure. The long descriptive sentences mirror Victor's anxiety and the suspense of the moment. How form shapes content. The gloomy diction and vivid imagery reflect Victor's horror and foreshadow the monster's unnatural and terrifying nature. Shelley immerses readers in the chilling atmosphere, allowing them to feel Victor's emotion turmoil. Model analysis sentence. Shelley's use of dark diction, such as dismally and half extinguished, creates a mood of despair that mirrors Victor's dread as he witnesses the horror of his creation come to life.
Okay, and Chloe, can you go ahead and read this slide?
Structure for analysis. Step 1. Introduce the form elements. Step 2. Provide a quote from the passage. Step 3. Analyze how the form contributes to the meaning or tone. Example paragraph. Shelley's use of vivid and dark imagery such as the rain-patterned dismally and the dual yellow eye establishes an atmosphere of horror. The word dismally creates a sense of gloom, while the creature's yellow eye symbolizes its unnatural and grotesque nature. Together, these elements reflect Victor's growing despair and foreshadowing the suffering his creation will bring. Key insight: focus on how the form connects to the content to create deeper meaning.
Okay, and Lewis, can you go ahead and read this slide?
Writing a strong conclusion. Structure of a conclusion. Restate how form enhances meaning. Emphasize the emotional or thematic impact. Example conclusion. Through her use of somber diction and vivid imagery, Shelley creates a scene of despair and horror. This atmosphere reflects Victor Frankenstein's regret and foreshadows the unnatural consequence of his.
Okay, so what we're going to work on now is the essay itself. Chloe, I'm going to make you a duplicate of this document so you can just directly write on the docs, or you can write on you can write on something on your own computer as well and just paste it on this after. Just make a copy. And I'll send the link over here. And Lewis, you could work directly over here, or you could copy and paste your work after onto this file right over here. And do both of you have any questions in general about what we went over in terms of the lessons?
No, but we are writing which one?
Oh, pardon me?
What are we supposed to write about?
Okay, right now you're going to be practically responding to the prompts. So Lewis, you would be working on addressing the feedback that I already gave you. So all of this feedback, Lewis, I would want you to make the changes to it right now. And Chloe, since you didn't start on the essay yet, you could use this time to work on your essay. So I do want to be able to use class time to provide feedback after both of you are done your work. Do either of you have any questions before we get started?
No question.
Okay, right now the time is 8:25. We'll work on this until about 9:10 to 9:15. So we have the rest of class to take up both of your work. If both of you have any questions at any point, feel free to ask me.
Wait, could you remind me what am I supposed to do right now?
Yeah, Lewis, we went over the feedback over here. So I just want you to mainly apply the changes in terms of this feedback. I want you to rewrite this work according to the feedback that was provided.
Oh,
Partic
all right.
Yeah, so if you could just compare the original to the visible changes over here, I want you to make the changes according to your own wording.
How long are we gonna work on this?
We'll work on this like honestly until both of you are done. Like Chloe, I'm not sure how long it'll take you to finish your essay, but Lewis, we'll see how long it takes you to make the changes. Just let me know as soon as you're done, and then I'll give a second activity that you could work on.
All right.
I'm supposed to copy my essay at which doc?
Pardon me, Chloe, I wasn't fully able to understand you.
Yeah, I'm supposed to copy my essay at which docs? Like which?
You're you're supposed to be working on prompt one right now. So the prompt that was assigned to you for your exam, that's what you're supposed to be working on right now.
Yeah, but like I can put it in the chat or
Oh, yeah, you could put it onto the chat or yeah, you could paste it onto the chat. I'll just paste it onto the docs for you. That's fine.
okay, thank you.
Chloe, I just wanted to check in and see if you're complete with the essay or if you still have to work on a couple more paragraphs for it.
Yeah, I think my part one will be finished.
Okay, just let me know as soon as you're done and then I'll give you the feedback accordingly. I also have another activity. So, Lewis, as soon as you're done, please let me know as well. And then I'll introduce the activity based off the lessons.
So I should write prompt two too.
Yeah, Chloe, you can work on prompt two as well. As soon as you're done with prompt one, you can just let me know. You can just write done in the chat as soon as you're done sending in everything for prompt one. And then you can work on prompt two after.
Yeah, I finished my part one already.
Okay, yeah. So I'll give the feedback accordingly. You can work on prompt two in the meantime.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Chloe, while you're working on your second essay, I want to go over the feedback for the first essay. So we'll start off with the points of improvement. Let me just go up over here. Thesis development. Thesis is clear, but it can be sharpened to include the broader implications of Achilles. Oh, actually, I did want to have you read it first. So, Chloe, can you go ahead and read your response?
Yeah, sure. Achilles is portrayed in Homer's epic poem The Iliad, embodies a cautionary narrative that underscores the dangers of unbridled emotions. His immense pride, a dominant trait in his character, ultimately leads to dire consequences when he allows his anger towards Agamemnon to dictate his actions. In a fit of rage, Achilles decides to withdraw from battle, a decision that not only impacts his own fate but also significantly alters the course of the Trojan War. His absence from the battlefield leaves his comrades, including his beloved friend Patroclus, vulnerable to the enemy. Tragically, Patroclus is killed in the ensuing chaos, a loss that sends Achilles into a whirlwind of profound sorrow and regret. This tragic sequence of events serves as a stark reminder of the potential devastation that can arise when one allows pride to overshadow reason and emotion to cloud judgment. Achilles' initial refusal to fight was driven by his deep-seated pride and a sense of dishonor, as he felt disrespected by Agamemnon's decision to take away his war prize species. Instead of seeking a resolution and finding a middle ground, Achilles lets his pride consume him, leading to a prolonged period of inaction that ultimately proves costly.
Okay, great job. And I just want to start going over the points of improvement again. So thesis development. The thesis is clear, but it can be sharpened to include the broader implications of Achilles' emotions and their cautionary value. Add a hint of how the narrative explores universal themes like pride, grief, and morality to make the essay's scope more sophisticated. Clarity and sentence flow. Some sentences are slightly repetitive, particularly in the analysis of pride and its consequences. Streamline these ideas to avoid redundancy. Depth of analysis. While the essay identifies Achilles' pride and its effects, it does not fully explore why his emotions are dangerous or how they shape the broader message of the epic. Incorporate analysis of literary devices such as imagery or irony to strengthen the argument and connect form to content. Transitions and cohesion. Improve transitions between sentences and ideas to ensure smoother flow. For example, moving from Achilles' refusal to fight to Patroclus' death can be more seamless. And in general, the essay ends abruptly without tying back to the broader lesson of unchecked emotions and its relevance to human struggles. A more reflective conclusion would elevate the analysis. So here we look at a changed version. You would write Achilles as portrayed in Homer's epic, or honestly, we see the cutoffs over here. I'm just going to go over the explanation. So the main reason the change happened over here was the thesis has been revised to make it more concise and impactful. Cautionary narrative is simplified to cautionary figure, and unbridled emotions is replaced with unchecked pride and anger to clarify the focus. And then over here, we see this change being made because this sentence is streamlined to remove redundancy. Achilles' pride is combined with this anger into one point and clarifies how it initiates the chain of tragic events. Over here, this sentence, or the second part of the sentence, is changed into leaving his comrades exposed to danger and shifting the course of the Trojan War. This revision impacts his own fate. This revision removes impacts his own fate as it's vague and focuses on the tangible consequences. His comrades' vulnerability and the shift in the war. And then this sentence is completely changed to his absence creates a void that allows his beloved friend Patroclus to face the enemy in his place. And the reason for this is because of rephrased clarity and precision. Leave his comrades vulnerable is too general, so I specified this as Patroclus stepping in for Achilles. The second part or majority of this sentence is changed into an outcome that Homer presents with bitter irony as Patroclus' death becomes the cost of Achilles' pride. The added bitter irony to incorporate a literary device deepens the analysis. And in general, the sentence that you had is rephrased for conciseness and sophistication. This sentence is changed to this tragic sequence underscores how unchecked emotions like pride can cloud judgment and result in irreversible devastation. This is because it simplifies the sentence while maintaining the original meaning. Stark reminder is replaced with underscores for strong phrasing. This change to the last part of the sentence is changed to rooted in his perception of dishonor after Agamemnon seizes braces his war prize. The explanation is tighten the sentence for clarity and sophistication. It also removed redundancy around felt disrespected as the idea is already implied. This sentence, instead of seeking a resolution, is replaced with rather than seeking reconciliation or compromise, Achilles allows his pride to dominate his decisions, leading to a costly period of inaction that proves fatal to his comrades. This is reworded for precision and variety. Also proves fatal for his comrades is added to emphasize the consequences more clearly. And then we have a final polished version over here. I'm not saying to use this exactly, but do keep these changes in mind and read the explanations for why the changes were made before you decide to make your own changes. And in general, the summary of changes is a thesis improvement. Thesis was more focused and impactful, but directly mentioning unchecked pride and anger and linking it to the broader consequences. Redundancies were removed, so sentences in general were tightened to avoid repetition and improve clarity. Literary devices were better integrated, so bitter irony was added in to deepen the analysis and meet the requirement for literary devices. There's also more precise language, improved phrasing for clarity and sophistication. For example, creates a void instead of leaves his comrade vulnerable. Stronger transitions, ensured sentences flow logically and connect smoothly. And Chloe, do you have any questions about the feedback provided for prompt 1?
No question.
Okay, you can continue working on prompt 2, and Lewis, please let me know when you're done making the changes to both of your prompts. Okay, Chloe, can you go ahead and read your second essay?
Uh, in this passage from Homer's the Iliad, I forgot the author employs a rich tapestry of literary devices to really depict the confrontation between Hector and Achilles. The diction is purposefully chosen to evoke the grandeur and solemnity of the moment, with words like death, struggle, glory, and savage fury, underscoring the life and death stakes of their battle. The violence and rhyme contribute to the tension like shorter lines like let me at least not die without a struggle, create a sense of urgency and the longer, more descriptive lines building up to the climactic clash. Allusions to the natural world such as the eagle swooping down from clouds serve to compare Hector's attack to a force of nature, emphasizing his strength and determination. Imagery is abundant with the beautiful elaborate great shield and the glittering helm and four horns painting with a picture of the warrior armor, which not only protects them but also symbolizes their status and valor. By using these forms, the author shapes the content of the passage, allowing the reader to interpret the significance of the moment.
Okay, I just want to go over some points of feedback. So the thesis is clear but lacks depth and precision and should be refined to explicitly state how the literary devices enhance the depiction of the confrontation and its broader meaning. Expand on the purpose of these devices beyond describing the moment to their role in conveying themes like heroism, mortality, and honor. Depth of analysis. While literary devices like diction, imagery, and illusions are identified, the essay does not sufficiently explain their significance or how they contribute to the passage's tension, themes, or characterization. Add more explanation for how specific devices, for example, imagery or natural world illusions, enhance the emotional and symbolic weight of the battle. Cohesion and transitions. Some ideas feel disjointed. For example, the discussion of rhythm and line length could flow more naturally into the analysis of diction and imagery. Use of evidence. Incorporate direct quotes from the passage to support the analysis and show how literary devices function in the context. For example, quoting, let me at least not die without a struggle, while analyzing rhythm would strengthen the point. Conclusion. The essay ends abruptly without reflecting on the broader meaning or implications of the passage. A conclusion should tie the analysis of the themes of the Iliad and the universal relevance of the confrontation. So we look at revisions over here. This paragraph is changed to through carefully chosen diction, vivid imagery, and rhythmic variation. Homer evokes the grandeur and solemnity of the climatic battle, emphasizing the stakes of life and death. Words like death, struggle, glory, and savage fury reinforce the mortal danger and heroic aspirations of the warriors. So the combined two sentences to streamline the introduction and focus on the passage's literary devices while clarifying the thematic purposes. It also has an added analysis of the diction to emphasize its connection to the theme of morality and heroism. Homer's variation in line length and rhythm heightens the tension of the scene. Shorter lines such as let me at least not die without a struggle convey urgency and determination mirroring Hector's defiance in the face of death. In contrast, longer descriptive lines show the pacing, building anticipation for the climatic clash between the two warriors. So in general, this expands the analysis of rhythm to include its impact on characterization, including Hector's defiance and pacing. There's also a direct quote that is added to support the claim, which is very, very important to include within your essay. Homer's allusions to the natural world, particularly the eagle swooping down from the clouds, liken Hector's attack to the primal force of nature. The comparison not only underscores Hector's strengths and determination, but also highlights his role as fierce, yet mortal, and combatant. The eagle symbolizes both power and vulnerability, foreshadowing the inevitable tragedy of his struggle against Achilles. This expands on the symbolic meaning of the Achilles, connecting it to Hector's dual nature as both heroic and doomed. Homer's abundant imagery immerses the reader in the vivid details of the confrontation. The beautiful, elaborate great shield and the glittering helms within the four horns illustrate the warrior's armor and its grandeur. This armor, while functional, also serves as a symbol of their status, valor, and the weight of their respective fates. Through these descriptions, Homer elevates the confrontation to a moment of epic significance, intertwining physical protection with the warrior's legacy and honor. This expands the analysis of the armor's symbolism and emphasizes its connection to status, fate, and the confrontation's epic significance. Here we see this change to through these literary devices, Homer shapes the content of the passage to convey not only the intensity of the confrontation, but also its thematic depth. The clash between Hector and Achilles is not merely a physical battle, but a reflection of the values and conflicts that define the epic: honor, mortality, and the pursuit of glory. So this is done to strengthen the conclusion by connecting the analysis of broader themes in the Iliad. Add a reflection on the symbolic and thematic importance. It also adds a reflection on the symbolic and thematic importance of the battle. So we have the revised version over here. Much more was added on. So when going over this, make sure you are looking at the additions. As we can see, there's much more expansions compared to the original text. And the reason being is because there's a lot of missing ideas that need to be added on. So in general, the thesis was refined to be more focused by connecting the literary devices to the passage's theme of mortality and heroism. The analysis is enhanced to deepen it further, including the analysis of rhythm, imagery, and illusions, tying them to characterization, pacing, and symbolism. Evidence is also incorporated with direct quotes to support claims and strengthen the analysis. And in terms of the conclusion, there's added reflection on the thematic significance of the battle and its role in the Iliad. And Chloe, do you have any questions about the provided feedback for the second prompt?
No question.
All right, I'm just going to introduce the second activity and we'll work on that for the meantime during class. And Lewis, you can also feel free to get started on this activity. I'll take a look at the changes you made. Yeah, go ahead.
Can you send a link to me first, please?
Pardon me?
The link. Can you send it to me, please?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, sorry. Okay, and let me paste in the slides over here. And I'll also make new slides over here so each one of you can just paste your responses. Just give me a second. All right, so the activity we're working on is an analytical essay on unchecked emotions and form in literature. So we're practically combining both ideas and we're going to be working on it in this essay that we're writing during class. So you're practically choosing a character and work. You're selecting a character from a literary work you've studied. These are the options that are provided. You can also feel free to choose another book or another source. It's completely up to you. The main idea is to get the practice of doing this with any other piece of text. Then you would identify their unchecked emotion, whether it be pride, ambition, or obsession, and the consequences of their action. The second step is to develop a thesis statement. Your thesis should connect the character's unchecked emotions, the consequences, and how the author's use of form highlights these elements. For example, Achilles' unchecked pride in the Iliad leads to devastating consequences for himself and others, and Homer's use of vivid imagery underscores the destructive power of selfish emotions. And then this is the structure for the essay. The introduction should introduce the character, the work, and their unchecked emotion, briefly explain how the author's use of form emphasizes the emotion's consequences, end with a clear thesis statement. The body paragraph 1 should describe how the character's unchecked emotions develops over the story, then use one example from the text to illustrate this, and then begin connecting how the author's use of form enhances the portrayal of the emotion. Second body paragraph, you would analyze the consequences of the character's unchecked emotions for themselves and others. You would also use another example from the text. Show how the author's use of form, so symbolism, irony, or imagery, deepens the reader's understanding of these consequences. The third body paragraph, you would explain the lesson or warning the author conveys through the character's experience. Reflect on how the author's form amplifies this universal message, connecting it to broader themes like morality, ambition, or responsibility. For the conclusion, summarize the key points of your essay and end with a reflection on how this lesson resonates in contemporary or universal contexts. Make sure to incorporate at least one literary device. Use evidence to support your claims and proofread and polish your work. Before we get started on this activity, Chloe and Lewis, do either of you have any questions?
No question.
I had just sent you my essays through email
Okay.
in a docs document.
All right. Yeah, I'll take a look at that. And then in the meantime, both of you can feel free to get started on this, or you can also continue making changes to your essay. It's either or, but You have the options to work on both. And in the meantime, I'll go over your essay, Lewis. Just give me a second while I get this pulled up.
All right.
Okay, Lewis, we'll just go over the points of improvement for essay one rather than reading through it. So clarity and sentence structure. Many sentences have awkward phrasing and grammatical issues that disrupt the clarity. The ideas are strong, but sentence flow needs polishing. So the improved version here, or I'll just go over here, the correction. Correcting defend to defense fixes the grammar error. Rewriting led to selfish decisions as drives him to make a selfish decisions, makes the sentence more active and concise. Word choice and precision. Some word choices lack sophistication or precision, weakening the essay's tone. Here we see the correction from warns to serve for subject verb agreement, replacing punished with harm better reflects the broader unintended suffering caused by Achilles' pride. Repetition of ideas. The essay repeats similar points about selfish decisions and their consequences, particularly in the discussion of Patroclus' death. The improved version here is Achilles' prideful decision to withdraw directly causes Patroclus' death, which ultimately returns to haunt him, illustrating the self-destructive nature of unchecked emotions. This revision consolidates the repetitive ideas and focuses on a cleaner and more impactful analysis. The depth of analysis. The essay identifies consequences well, but needs to provide more nuanced analysis. Explain why pride drives Achilles, what it reveals about his character, and how it contributes to the broader theme of heroism and mortality. You can add on a sentence similar to this. Achilles' pride is rooted in his identity as the greatest warrior among the Greeks. By refusing to fight, he believes he preserves his honor, but ironically, his inaction causes greater dishonor through the unnecessary suffering of his comrades. This reveals Homer's critique of his pride as a double-edged sword. It can elevate heroes, but also lead to their downfall. This addition deepens the analysis by exploring Achilles' motivations and linking his pride to Homer's broader message. The conclusion needs a stronger universal connection. In general, it is solid, but it ends abruptly. It can be improved by connecting the warning about unchecked pride to contemporary or universal issues. For example, you can write Achilles' story serves as a timeless reminder that unchecked pride can cloud judgment, leading to devastating consequences for oneself and others. This lesson remains relevant today as personal ambition or emotional decisions can harm relationships, communities, and even entire societies. This revision broadens the conclusion, connecting Achilles' pride to modern day scenarios and making it more impactful. For essay 2, the thesis statement needs greater precision. The thesis is solid, but can be more specific about how the imagery shapes the reader's emotional response to the creation scene. By adding unsettling and clarifying mirrors, Victor's horror makes the thesis more focused and insightful. So instead, you could write Mary Shelley uses vivid and unsettling imagery in Frankenstein to craft a chilling atmosphere that mirrors Victor Frankenstein's growing horror and despair during the monster's creation. Grammar and word choice. There are frequent grammar issues and awkward phrasing that weaken clarity and flow. So we just see corrected grammar over here in general, so you can just see the improved version. Adds further on is changed to deepens, and this in general smooths the sentence structure for better readability. Depth of analysis. While the essay identifies imagery well, it needs to analyze the significance of the imagery more deeply. Connect how Shelley's descriptions reflect Victor's emotions, the unnaturalness of the monster, or broader themes of creation and destruction. You can add the rains pattering dismally and the half-extinguished light symbolize Victor's internal conflict and foreshadow the moral darkness of his creation. The contrast between the natural world, rain, and Victor's unnatural experiment highlights his isolation from humanity. This adds a layer of symbolism and thematic analysis, linking form, imagery to content, which is Victor's emotional state and themes. Analysis of contrast in monster's appearance. The essay identifies the monster's contrasting features, beauty and horror, but could explain why Shelley creates this contrast. Over here, the improved version, the juxtaposition of the monster's pearly whiteness and yellow skin creates a grotesque blend of beauty and horror, reflecting Victor's realization of the unnatural and repulsive result of his ambition. Shelley uses this imagery to evoke a sense of moral revulsion, suggesting that tampering with nature produces consequences beyond human control. This revision explains the purpose of the contrast and ties it to the broader theme of unnatural creation. Conclusion also needs refinement. It repeats earlier points without tying the imagery to Shelley's broader themes or message. In the improved version, through vivid and unsettling imagery, Shelley crafts an atmosphere of dread that mirrors Victor's horror and despair. This scene not only highlights the consequences of unchecked ambition, but also serves as a warning against humanity's desire to manipulate nature, a theme that resonates deeply in an age of scientific and technological advancement. Adding a connection to themes of unchecked ambition and contemporary relevance gives the conclusion more depth and impact. And Lewis, do you have any questions about the changes I went over for both of the essays?
No question. Can I have the link for this?
Yeah, no, this is on the same exact link. It's just on a different page, but it's the same exact link. If you use the tabs, it'll be much more
Oh, all
easy.
right.
You can just click through over here, but it's on the same page. And Chloe,
Oh, I see.
yeah, and Chloe and Lewis, we have about 15 more minutes until class ends. It's up to you. We can get started on this different essay, this analytical essay, or we can continue working on both of your essays So again, just making the changes I went over in the last 15 minutes. What would both of you rather do? Would you rather work on the new essay or would you rather continue working on your existing essays?
I think both is fine.
I didn't properly get you. Did you mean the current essays? Like, would you rather work on that?
But I don't really I can't really think of any changes in my current essays right now.
Okay, we could get started with the new activity over here that I already introduced. But in general, Chloe, I do want you to, like, not right now, but after, to go through all of these points of feedback, especially for the second essay, there were a lot of things missing in terms of your depth of analysis. So if you could just compare all of the changes side by side, you can clearly see what you have to add on, especially as we see over here, when we see the symbolism beyond the eagle and connecting to Hector's act to force of nature, we see much more depth added with this extension right over here. So things like that can be further improved in your essay. But in the meantime, if you do want to work on this activity, you can feel free to do so as well. At about 9:25, I just want to check to see what was done in the last 10 minutes, and then we'll go over the homework and we'll end off class. And Chloe and Lewis, do either of you have any questions or are kind of confused on what you're working on right now?
So we're gonna work on this, right?
Yeah,
The
you could,
analytical essay.
yeah,
Okay.
you can work on the analytical essay. And Lewis, it's up to you as well. You can either work on this essay or you can make the changes, to the essay that I gave you.
I don't think I have enough time to finish 700 words. I'll just work on my essay.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. All right. The time right now is 9:24. I'll just, Chloe, honestly, you can work on this until the end of class and you could give it in to me. I'll paste onto the slides and I'll give you feedback, which you can read after class, just to give you the rest of the time to work on it. And Lewis, you as well, you can make the changes all the way until the end of class. And I'm just going to go over the homework around the last 2 minutes of class. But Chloe, please do make sure you send in whatever you have done just right around 9:30 into the chat, and then I'll paste it onto the slides. Oh, okay, perfect. I already got a response from you. Okay, Chloe, can you go ahead and read your response?
Uh, yeah. In the epic poem The Iliad, Homer presents the character of Achilles as a formidable warrior whose unchecked emotions play a pivotal role in the unfolding of the Trojan War. Achilles' pride and wrath are central to his character and leading to significant consequences that ripple throughout the narrative. The author used a specific literary device, such as diction imagery and symbolism, serves to heighten the impact of these emotional outbursts and underscores the broader themes of the story. Achilles' emotions are portrayed as raw and unbridled, often resulting in impulsive actions that have far-reaching effects. His anger towards Agamemnon, sparkled by the depth of his pride, leads to his withdrawal from battle, a decision that not only affects the immediate course of the war but also has lasting implications for the Greek camp. This moment of emotional outburst is a turning point in the narrative as it sets the stage of the subsequent events, including the death of Patroclus and Achilles' eventual return to battle.
Okay, great job with your response, especially writing that much within that short amount of time. I just want to go over some points of feedback. Not sure why this is not getting bigger. Just give me a second. All right, so the thesis should explicitly connect with Achilles' unchecked emotions to the broader themes. For example, honor, mortality, and the destructive power of pride. For example, Achilles' unchecked pride and wrath drive the conflict in the Iliad and highlight Homer's exploration of the destructive consequences of unmoderated emotions. The depth of analysis expand on why Achilles' emotions are significant. Think just give me please just give me 1 second. I'm going to continue going through this feedback. All right. Excuse me. Okay. So I think I left off around here. Expand on why Achilles' emotions are significant beyond raw and unbridled. Link them to his identity as a hero and the reflection of larger cultural values in the epic. Integration of literary devices. While devices like diction, imagery, and symbolism are mentioned, they are not analyzed. Provide examples and explain their impact on characterization or themes. Sentence flow and clarity. Improve sentence structure for smoother flow. For example, Achilles' emotions are portrayed as raw and unbridled, often resulting in impulsive actions that have far-reaching effects. Instead, you could write Homer portrays Achilles' emotions as raw and unrestrained, driving impulsive actions with far-reaching consequences. Connection to themes. Strengthen the link between Achilles' emotional outbursts and the themes of honor, heroism, and human mortality to enhance thematic depth. Expand expand analysis of turning point. Develop the idea of how Achilles' withdrawal serves as a pivotal moment, connecting more explicitly to the tragic consequences, Patroclus' death and Achilles' eventual grief. The conclusion is also missing. I know you didn't get to that yet just because you wrote this much within the given time. The excerpt lacks a conclusion, tying the analysis together. Add a reflection on the significance of Achilles' unchecked emotions in the broader context of the Iliad and its lessons on human nature. And Chloe, do you have any questions about the provided feedback for your response?
No question.
Okay, I just want to go over the homework. Complete the remainder of your essay. So I'm particularly talking about what you were assigned for the exam. And if you did get started on this essay, that would be fine as well. Review the revisions made to your first draft. So Chloe, this would apply to you. And in general, all the revisions I made to your first exam, I mean to your exam, that should be applied as well. Review the lesson for key takeaways. In general, the lesson does go over very important parts about how you can exactly make your essay the best of the best. So do take those key takeaways, especially in terms of integrating quotes. I feel like that's definitely something that's the most lacking using evidence within your essays. And I would say that for the both of you. So primarily take a look into that. And yeah, it does say please provide responses before next week's class, but that's not the case with the exam. But with if you do want me to take up anything for next week, please make sure you do send it in before next week's class. And I don't think there is class next week because of Christmas. So yeah, we don't have to worry about any of that. And the writing assignment is the consequences of unchecked emotions in literature. So you're practically writing a 750 word essay analyzing how a character's unchecked emotions, practically really similar to what we're working on right over here. So you really can ignore this. Honestly, I'm going to just remove this and rather just focus on the activity that's broken down over here. This analytical essay can be considered your writing activity as well. Before I end off class, Chloe and Lewis, do either of you have any questions?
No question.
All right. I hope both of you have a great week and great holidays ahead of you. Bye.
Happy early
Merry
Merry Christmas.
Christmas to you too. Happy holidays.
You too. Thank you.